Hey guys, it's Rob here and welcome back to another video. So in this video, we do have some more Nintendo Switch 2 news to talk about. Some things that are happening in Japan with a distribution for Pokemon Legends ZA. There's also some resolution and frame rate information on the new Pac-Man game. There's also a new game that was revealed for the Nintendo Switch from the Bomb Rush Cyberfunk devs, which is pretty cool. It's another game that's in line with Jet Set Radio, that kind of style of game, so that's always fantastic. I always love seeing those kind of games. And overall, some other Nintendo Switch 2 topics, including times for Hades and the release date for that, or more specifically the release time. So let's get to the news. Real quick, if you guys end up enjoying this video, leave a like and of course subscribe for more. So first up, we do have some small news for Pokemon Legends ZA when it comes to a distribution in Japan. Apparently they're going to be giving out a Slowpoke in a Cherish Ball, and this is to celebrate the grand opening for the Pokemon Center in Kagawa. Now there were some other updates as well for Pokemon Legends ZA, especially when it comes to pre-orders for the United States. The update number 2, according to Nintendo Life, says this. Well, we've got an update about this particular item, and it's good news if you're planning to pre-order the game. According to the fine print from the same promotion for the US, you can apparently obtain these items through normal gameplay, so even though this is a pre-order bonus, it seems not to be locked off. And as you can see in this tweet right here, they say Pokemon Legends ZA's pre-order bonus trench coat and pants will also be available in the US through GameStop. A disclaimer notes that these items can be obtained through normal gameplay, so you don't necessarily have to pre-order it to get this. Then the first update was just the announcement of that pre-order bonus. Moving on to the next topic, we do have some resolution and frame rate for the Nintendo Switch 2 version and the Switch 1 version of the new Pac-Man game, Pac-Man World 2 Repack. So not necessarily new, but you guys know what I mean. So this is what Nintendo Life has to say. Pac-Man is back next week with Pac-Man World 2 Repack, and ahead of the big launch, the game's Japanese website has shared an official comparison chart. It shows how the game will perform and look on the Switch and Switch 2. So for the Nintendo Switch 2, the resolution and frame rate quality priority, it's going to be 4K in TV mode. In handheld mode, it's going to be 1920 by 1080p, and it's going to be a maximum of 30 FPS. Now as far as the resolution and frame rate priority instead of quality, it's going to be 1920 by 1080 in TV mode. Handheld is going to be 1920 by 1080, and it's going to be 60 FPS. So I think honestly, frame rate priority is probably going to be something that I would choose if I were to pick up this game. I don't have a lot of money to go around, so I'll probably eventually try it out when I rent it from GameFly, but that's probably what I would go for, since of course I'm on the Nintendo Switch 2. Now as for the Switch 1, the resolution and frame rate for quality is going to be 1920 by 1080, handheld mode is going to be 1280 by 720, and it's going to be a maximum of 30 FPS. And the resolution for TV mode when it's prioritizing frame rate is going to be 1440 by 810p, and of course in handheld mode it's going to be 1024 by 576, and it's going to be a maximum of 30 FPS. Though it just says 30 FPS, so I don't think it's going to be a maximum of 30 FPS. The other ones I'm guessing are going to be a range, so it's not going to be a solid 30 FPS, at least on the Nintendo Switch 2, which would be kind of weird if you ask me, but I guess we'll see on the official release. Moving on to the next topic, we do have some new games that were revealed by the Bomb Rush Cyberfunk devs, which is pretty cool. So this is what Nintendo Life has to say. Team Reptile has announced that it will be releasing another Jet Set Radio style release. Following the launch of Bomb Rush Cyberfunk on the Switch in 2023, it has now unveiled its new project, Hyperfunk. And according to Nintendo Life, that's going to be changing, or it could change in the future. It's targeting a PC and console release, but specific platforms and release date have not been confirmed yet, so keep that in mind. They also do have an official summary from the game. It says Team Reptile's new game is called Hyperfunk, an extreme trick and graffiti game in which the higher your score combo is, the faster you can boost. Follow the story of a crew called Mach 10 and compete with other crews in dynamic style wars or hang out online with friends. Now Nintendo Life also does mention that on the Nintendo Switch 2 they have unlocked the frame rate for that, so make sure you guys go check that out if you haven't checked that out ever since you bought it in 2023 on the Nintendo Switch Switch 1 because you'll also get that unlocked frame rate. Moving on to some Hades news, we finally know when we can actually start playing it in different territories depending on like where you actually live. It's going to be on your screen right now, so for me, I'm going to be able to play it at 12 p.m., which is actually pretty fantastic because by the time I wake up, it's already going to be playable, which is pretty nice. I'm probably going to end up selling some games just to buy this. I mean, it's not a full price game, like it's not $70, which is really fantastic, you know? So selling a couple games that I just don't play anymore for Hades 2, 100%. Not even a question, right? But yeah, let me know if you guys are going to be playing Hades 2 or not. I am really excited for it. Again, I reviewed the first Hades and I had a ton of fun with that, so I'm guessing I'm going to have a lot of fun with this one as well. And speaking of Hades, just like Silksong, it seems that there are some indie developers that have been moving different games to avoid Hades, and one of those games is Sworn. So over on Nintendo Life, they have an article that says Mike Mignola inspired co-op roguelike Sworn dodges Hades 2, Switch version coming at a later date, dropping 2 days earlier on other platforms. So this is what Nintendo Life has to say. Windwalk Games and Team 17 have announced that the release date for their upcoming co-op roguelike Swarm has been shifted from September 25th, aka Hades 2 Day, to September 23rd on PC and other consoles, with a Switch version due to arrive at a later date. The colorful roguelike from a team of veteran developers from Riot Games, Niantic, and Blizzard. I might actually have to check that out then if it's from those. That actually sounds pretty cool, especially if it's a roguelike, because I really do like those. Side note anyways, but let's continue. Takes inspiration from the art of the legendary Mike Mignola and has been available on PC in early access since February, where it's gone down very well. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. I mean, it's going to be available on PlayStation. I have PS5. It's actually available on Xbox Game Pass as well. I don't want to buy Game Pass, so I probably wouldn't do that. But yeah, pretty solid stuff. So let's move on to the next topic. So let's move on to the last topic. So this is from Nintendo Life, and they have the article title of this. Nintendo of America reportedly cuts loose customer service contractors as it looks to outsource. A lot of us are feeling betrayed. So this is what Nintendo Life has to say. A new report states that Nintendo of America is cutting loose around 200 long-time contractor jobs as it decides to outsource its customer support services ahead of the Switch 2's first holiday season. This report comes from IGN's Rebecca Valentine, who spoke to numerous customer support staff and sources under anonymity. Many confirmed that the outlet that they were told back in 2025 of March that their contracts were being cut and gradually being phased out. None of the contractors have received communication from Nintendo itself, hearing instead through their agencies about the news. They also go on to say that some of the contractors are going to be training some of their replacements, and many of whom are in South American countries, primarily Brazil, Argentina, and Nicaragua. I completely butchered that. I'm horrible with names. And I think we can all expect a drop in quality from the support, just like they say in the article. And of course, the one thing that I think a lot of people are going to be concerned about is being able to communicate with the supporters. They say, while the new contractors all speak English, some IGN spokes said that there were a number of communication issues internally, with an increase in customers being irate, not even going to try that word, or even racially abusive, which don't do that, Jesus, man. Now, Nintendo of America has actually responded to a lot of this, and in response to IGN, Nintendo has stated that the claims shared with IGN include inaccurate information and that our top priority is to provide excellent customer support, and we are pleased that a customer satisfaction with the service provided by all of our partners remains positive. Now, as to if that's even true or not, of course, Nintendo's not going to come out and say that, expect a drop in quality. Nintendo's not going to say that. It's really going to be up to what the players are going to say going forward, but just based off of all the information we have so far, this kind of does suck. They were contractors though. I know a lot of people, especially on Twitter, I saw a lot of people misunderstanding this, that it was Nintendo laying people off. Another thing you also have to consider is, according to Nintendo Life, these were long-time contractors. I don't know why Nintendo didn't hire them. I know they're contractors, but if they're long-time contractors and if they're good enough to keep around, Nintendo probably should have just hired them. I would assume that you would need support for your company. So if they're just continually getting contract work, you might as well just make them employees, right? Again, I don't know. I'm not a contractor. Well, technically, I mean, if you want to be technical, YouTube is contract work, but you guys know what I mean. But yeah, for the people who are losing their job, it does suck. I mean, I got laid off of my contract job when it comes to the construction job. I got laid off. The boss called me 12 o'clock at night. I didn't even get a heads up either, by the way. They just called me 12 o'clock at night and said, yeah, you're fired. So I understand how much it sucks as someone who was a long time contractor for that company and who was essentially hired as a person at that company to just get let off randomly. You know, it did suck. I think there are multiple sides to this. There's the side where it's like they were longtime contractors, but they were at the end of the day contractors. They weren't actual employees at the company. But then of course there's the flip side of that is like, Nintendo, why didn't you just hire them if you kept just renewing their contract? You know, that just wouldn't make any sense. You need support. You need good support, especially with the Nintendo Switch 2. So you would assume that they would have just hired them. But yeah, those are just my 2 cents on that. With that being said, guys, if you guys want more, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you reached the end, thank you for reaching the end, and leaving a like and comment would go a very long way. And tell me your thoughts on today's news. I mean, a lot of it was smaller. The contract stuff was definitely pretty interesting, especially as someone who does have some experience with being let go as a contractor. Not the same job. It was a construction job, but you know, it's a very similar situation that I was in, so it does suck. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.